Well, good morning everybody. Good morning again from sunny Vegas. What a surprise, it's sunny in Vegas. That is the beauty of this place. It's a little bit fresh in the air, but it's almost guaranteed blue skies around here. What are we doing today then? Well, so today is Monday, and today is the start of my bad week. So you're probably thinking, well, if it's your bad week, why are you out on your bike? Well, I start chemo in about an hour and a half. So because I start chemo in about an hour and a half, I thought, oh, it'd be nice to get up in the morning and get myself sorted and come for a ride before I start chemo. And then I can't, well, I could, but I probably won't go for a ride for a few days because I will not be feeling up to it. However, I do have a track day booked for Saturday, so I'm kind of hoping that chemo goes well and I can recover in time to do my track day okay on Saturday. And I'm sure I'll be fine. I might not be 100% fit, but that's fine. I just, you know, I'll still enjoy it. I just won't maybe do the full day. I might just do 6 sessions out of the 8, or yeah, I might just not do a complete. I might do 8 sessions, but just do 15 minutes on each session instead of 20 sessions, or what have you. So there's ways around it, but yeah, hopefully by Saturday I'm alright. And the reason I'm doing Saturday, normally I do Sunday, so it gives me an extra day to recover, but the reason I'm doing Saturday is because Sunday is Mother's Day here in the US. So obviously it's Tracy's day, and in the afternoon she's going down to stay in a hotel down the strip Sunday night, so that's good that she's doing that. And then on Monday she comes home, and then on Tuesday we're going to Miami for a few days, for 4 days or 4 nights or whatever it is. So yeah, so a busy couple of weeks coming up. So what am I going to do today? So no surprises. I haven't got that long. I've only got an hour, so I'm just going to, surprise, go through Red Rock, which all my subscribers are thinking, oh god, not Red Rock again. And you know what? I'm also thinking that, but it's the nearest place to me without just driving through the city, which is obviously not fun. It's the nearest place to me just to go for a kind of a relaxing, chilled out ride. There won't be many people around on a Monday morning, and I guess this video is more about me just talking about stuff rather than where I'm going today. So I thought I would talk a bit about mental health, because I mean, the reason I'm coming out on my bike today, this morning, is I guess for my mental health, because it's my little way of just enjoying myself before chemotherapy starts. So yeah, that's mental health, isn't it? And also there's been a few things that I've seen, like whether on the news or on TV or whatever recently, that are kind of related to mental health. First one is at the moment I'm watching the World Snooker Final. Ronnie O'Sullivan, Judd Trump, and anyone that watches snooker knows that Ronnie O'Sullivan suffers quite heavily from mental health issues, and if he wins this World Championship, he'll be his 7th World Championship, but I think he would have won double that if he didn't have the mental health struggles that he does. And so, you know, I was thinking about mental health when watching Ronnie and how snooker is such a psychological game or psychological sport, because you can only beat yourself, really. Things that your opponents do can't affect what you do. They only can mentally, psychologically. Yeah, so that got me thinking about mental health a bit. What else have I seen about mental health? I sort of go blank. Well, the other thing I saw yesterday was a channel I watch on YouTube called 44 Teeth. There's only bikers out there. 44 Teeth is a really good motorbike channel. They do, you know, all sorts of things. Test riding bikes, track days, talk about the news, you know, what bikes are coming up and whatever. But yes, anything sort of motorcycle related, 44 Teeth is kind of like the Top Gear. It's like the Top Gear version for motorbikers. And anyway, I was watching that, the guy, one of the founders of 44 Teeth, a guy called Chris, also known on YouTube as Baron Von Grumble, which is where I first discovered him, because he used to video his commutes through London. Yeah, so a guy called Chris, and he has some mental health struggles that he's becoming sort of more open talking about. And yesterday I watched the 44 Teeth video. Yeah, 44 Teeth video where he kind of talks about his mental health struggles and how he's been having a rough time of it recently, and he doesn't really go into like what's causing them or anything like that. He just talks about the fact that he does have these mental health struggles and how it can like reduce him to tears, really. You know, almost a broken man. And you look at him and you think he's very confident. He's a very successful guy. He's very confident. You know, he's a very talented motorbike rider. And you kind of think, how does someone like that have mental health struggles? But you know, they do. Anyone can have mental health struggles, and the key thing is that, well, you know what I'm going to say. The key thing is you have to talk about it. You have to be open about it. But as I'm going to sort of talk about, yes, that is true. However, talking about it isn't always for everyone, or doesn't always work out how you think it's going to work out. So I find that I don't really talk about like the struggles I'm going through at the minute, but I'm fine with that. I don't think, oh, I should go and speak to a psychiatrist or I should speak to a counsellor. You know, other people say, yeah, you should. But I think I have my own way of dealing with things. So whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But I have my own ways of coping. Stop fucking stupid cow. In a fucking hurry to get through Red Rock. Sorry, I might swear in this video. I might swear, I already have. So I don't necessarily talk about it. I mean, this is me talking about it now, and part of the reason I do this vlog is for me, it's a way for me to talk about stuff that's going on. And maybe me doing this vlog is my way of opening up about it, and telling people about my good weeks and my bad weeks, and okay, so maybe that is my way of, maybe you are my counsellor. There's a girl I know called Ali who messaged me last week, and she said that when I was talking about my good week and my bad week, she said that, it must be very hard to live like that, where I think at the end of my good week, I know what's coming, and I know I'm going to have a bad week. But that is true to some extent. That I don't necessarily want today to come, because I know it's going to be a week where I can't go out on my bike, and I can't do the things that I want to do, and I'm physically and mentally more limited because of the chemo. But on the flip side, I also kind of want today to happen. I want chemo every other week, because at the end of the day, chemo is the only thing that's keeping me alive. So I wish it to happen, and I know it's not going to be nice, and I know that I'm not going to enjoy it, and for a few days I'm going to be a bit wiped out, but I don't look forward to it, but I want it to happen, because I want to live. I want that chemo to work, and I want that chemo to fight the cancer cells. So that's like, yes, it's not nice to think about. In an hour I've got to go and strap myself into a chair, and they're going to plug me into some horrible stuff with warning signs all over it. That's going to enter my body. But on the flip side, I'm thinking, yeah, come on, plug me in, get this shit inside my body, and let's see what it can do. So that's my way of dealing with that. Other people might, feel really anxious about waiting for chemo Monday to come, and they might, the 3 or 4 days before Monday, they might really suffer because the anxiety of Monday is coming. But I don't have that. I kind of think I'm going to enjoy my good week. I'm going to go out for a coffee, I'm going to go for a ride on my bike, I'm going to spend time with the kids or Tracy or whatever, and then when Monday comes, great, plug me in, let's fight this bastard. So that's that. The other thing about mental health, so my job, a large part of my job involves delivering briefs, so public speaking effectively, and that is something I've struggled with for forever. The first time I really had to talk in front of people was, well, talk in front of people properly, I guess, would be, I think, university, and I really struggled with it. Like, I couldn't focus on my actual work or what it was I was actually doing, because I was so anxious about having to stand up in front of people and talk about my photographs or talk about a subject. I was so anxious about that I couldn't focus on anything else, and then that probably then meant that my work suffered, and I probably didn't deliver a very good brief because I couldn't focus on anything but having to deliver this brief. But anyway, so I've always suffered from that. So why I chose a trade in the RAF, where a large part of your job is having to stand up in front of people and deliver a brief, God knows. I think when I went through the basic training, and they said that a large part of your job is standing up in front of people and delivering briefs, I had that moment of, oh shit, what have I done? But through being forced into having to do it, you kind of get used to it, and you become better at it, and then because you get used to it and you become better at it, you don't suffer as bad with the anxiety of having to do it. So I found that if I was in a place, like if I was on a course where you had to deliver a brief fairly regularly, I would be alright with it, because you're doing it so regularly. And also, if you're on a course, everyone on that course has to deliver the briefs or whatever, so you're all kind of in the same boat. Whereas if you just turn up to a place where there's 100 strangers sat in an auditorium, and you've got to stand up the front of them, and none of them have to brief, but you have to brief, and they're all there because you're briefing. That I would really like struggle with. I mean, to the point where I would look for excuses to not go, or I would make I'd just find a reason to not do it. But that's like you know, you call in sick for work, like, oh yeah, really ill, I can't go and do that brief. Yeah, I can't think of an example where that's actually happened, but I would, if I had to imagine myself being put in that situation, I would really struggle. But anyway, so where does this fall in mental health? Well, just like have mental health struggles. Everyone has mental health struggles. It's not only the people that have got like some sort of diagnosis of depression or anxiety, or you know, a doctor has said you've got ADD, or it's not only those people. Every single person out there has got mental health struggles, and they will all be at different levels. Everyone's going to struggle with something, or lose confidence, or not have confidence in something, and that's all mental health. All those things are, you know, if you've got a brain inside your head, you will have mental health issues. But you know, you also have mental health positives. Like some people are really good at standing up in front of people and singing. So you know, that's a mental health positive. But on the flip side, they'll also have a mental health struggle, and that might be, you know, they worry that they worry about their weight. Something, you know, so they're constantly, you know, so they can stand in front of an audience and sing all day long, but behind closed doors they look at themselves in the mirror and they think, I'm fat, or I'm too thin, or I'm too tall, or I'm too pale, or I'm too whatever. So they will have something else that they have a struggle with. Everyone has mental health struggles. So with my briefing, I went on a deployment to Mali, and during that deployment, the officer that I worked with, she used to do what's called like an arrivals brief. So people would arrive in theatre, and she would deliver like a theatre brief, so to give them all kind of a flavour of what's going on in the country, like politically, socially, etc. So that they weren't just in Mali just to fix a helicopter and go home. You know, they actually understood why they were there and what they were doing and how they were helping, and just fixing the helicopter, how that would help the political situation or whatever it was. So she would deliver this brief, and it was her brief, and she'd spent like a month or whatever building up the knowledge and the experience in country to really fully understand the subject of the brief. Now I got to theatre not late, but I got there about a month after, because my deployment was a short notice, so it took so long to get visas and stuff sorted that by the time I got there, she'd already been there for like a month. Anyway, so there was a new bunch of people arriving, like another, I don't know, 50 or 60 people arriving, like the following day. And she said to me, right, I want you can do the arrivals brief. At which point my heart like sank into my feet, because the anxiety straight away kicked in. But the anxiety, a lot of it came from, well, I myself haven't been here that long, like a week or so. I don't fully understand the situation in the country, but you're asking me to stand up in front of 50 or 60 people and be the expert at knowing what's going on in the country. So straight away I didn't feel comfortable that I understood the subject well enough to deliver this brief, but I certainly didn't feel comfortable enough to deliver it to people, like 50 or 60 people who are going to be looking at me thinking he's an expert. But like, yeah, you think about these things like, oh, I'm gonna bumble my words, or you know, I'm gonna like just start making stuff up because I'm lost on a subject, and I only had like less than 24 hours to really look at this brief, really fully understand it. It's different if you build your own brief and you've studied the subject. But if someone else has studied the subject and built a brief and then they ask you to deliver it as an expert to 50 or 60 people the following day, that's quite a lot to ask. Anyway, so I had nowhere to run. I had nowhere to hide, so I had to be honest. And I said to her, look, I said I'm not happy delivering the brief. I don't want to do it. And I'm 99.9% sure she probably thought, like, why? Like, this is what you do for a job. Why are you ducking out from delivering this brief? And like I've just explained, why I didn't want to do it. And I think that was, fair enough. But I think 9 out of 10 people in my trade probably would have gone, oh, okay, yeah, fine. And then they would have spent the next 24 hours studying the presentation and learning the subject and doing the knowledge, and fair play to them. But I was so petrified of standing up in front of 50 or 60 people as an expert and looking like a knob that it was, the way I dealt with it was to be honest and say I don't want to do it. And I know for a fact that she probably behind my back kind of told other people, and I was probably the butt of people's jokes because of it. And I got that impression from other people I knew that worked with us, like back in the UK and stuff. I just picked up on those vibes that she had definitely said something to them, and I was basically a laughing stock. And that then affects you even more, because now you think, oh, people are talking about you behind your back and taking the piss out of you. So then your anxiety gets even worse, because then next time you have to do a brief, now you're thinking, oh, everyone knows I don't like doing briefs, so they're going to be staring at me even more and picking up on any other thing that you do, because they're fully aware that you struggle with what you're trying to do. So by being honest, instead of getting support, it made it worse. It made it 10 times worse, because I went from a point where I was honest about it, and I thought that would help, to being proven that by being honest about it, all it did was make it 10 times worse. So not long after that, I got posted back out here to America, and one of the jobs out here is briefing, and I'm fine with that out here, because the job that you do out here where you're briefing, you're doing it to like probably a maximum of 6 or 7 people, and they all work in the environment that you work in, and it's a subject I'm more comfortable with. It's a job I've done before, so there's that element of, because I know it well enough to be comfortable, I don't struggle with it, and also it's not to 50 or 60 people. Anyway, sometimes we have like training days where the whole squadron will be in for briefings, and they will ask certain people to deliver a brief on these training days to the whole squadron. And generally these briefs are going to be something that you're probably not an expert in, so they might ask me to deliver a brief on, I don't know, what's going on in Libya, or the fueling system of the aircraft, something like that, something that I'm not an expert in, something you can study and put together a brief and stuff. But again, if you told me to stand up in front of the whole squadron and deliver a brief on the Ducati 916, I would struggle with the anxiety of having to stand up in front of all those people to deliver a brief. But because the subject I'm comfortable with, that would remove some of the anxiety and make me feel a little bit more comfortable about doing it. So anyway, so I knew that when I came back here, because the Mali thing had happened not that long ago, and I'd really knocked my confidence, like you couldn't believe. I was a completely different person because of that, and that feeling of people are talking about you behind your back. Because of that situation, the last thing I wanted was for them to ask me to deliver a brief to 100 people on the squadron on a subject I wasn't comfortable with. So again, I had like my boss here was a woman, and we had like a bit of a chat when she became my boss of like, you know, this is me, hello, this is my background, blah blah blah. Anyway, I did the honesty thing again, and I said to her, interesting that it was a woman, because if it was a bloke, if my boss was a fella, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I don't know if I would have said anything. But because it was a woman, I thought she might be a bit more, like, she might have a bit more empathy with what I'm telling her, being a woman, because women are just a bit more switched on to that. So I did the honesty thing again, and I told her, and I said, look, I had a bad experience. I said, I don't like briefing anyway, but I had quite a bad experience fairly recently, and I would appreciate it if you never asked me to deliver a brief to a large group of people on a subject that I'm not an expert in. That's all I asked. And she seemed to be very understanding of that, and she said, you know, she would do her best to prevent that from happening. You know, I think she said, like, she can't make any promises, but you know, if something came up, she would, you know, let's say another officer asked me to do something, basically I could go to her and say, look, this person has asked me to do this, I don't feel comfortable with that, and I felt that she would go and fix it and say, look, hey, there's a reason why I don't want Chris to do this. Yeah, I don't want to go into the detail, but can you give it to someone else? Anyway, I felt confident that she was on my side and she would do that. Anyway, the situation never occurred where I needed her to step in and help. Maybe behind the scenes something was good, like maybe someone wanted me to do a brief and she stopped it and I didn't know about it, I don't know. But anyway, the situation never came up. Anyway, it got to reporting time of the year. So in the Air Force we call it an SJAR, which is basically an annual report on what you've done during the year, what you've achieved. And anyway, my report was okay from my first reporting officer. It was pretty much what I expected. And then it went to my second reporting officer, which is this woman, and basically she completely and utterly fucked me over. So me being honest with her about my anxiety of briefing people basically gave her ammunition to kind of screw me in my annual report, because she probably thought, well, he can't brief, he doesn't feel comfortable briefing people, so he can't do his job to the full extent, and I'm going to punish him for it. That's how it felt. And what annoys me is, so in the Air Force, these annual reports, they don't give a shit about how good you are at your job. Like, you could be the best there is at your job, that will not get you promoted. And these reports are what the Air Force uses to promote them. They don't give a shit about how good you are at your job. Your report is all about your capacity to do other things, i.e. Secondary duties, you know, raise money for charity, go on a mental health course, you're a paramedic in your spare time, or you look after air cadets, you give up your time to look after air cadets in your spare time, all that sort of thing. Hang on, go do this one. Yeah, so it's all those other things that you do that get you promoted. It doesn't matter how good you are at your job. But when it came to this report from this woman, it felt that I was being punished for not being able to perform part of my job because of the anxiety and the mental health issues that I had doing that. And I could do my job 100% without ever having to deliver a brief to anyone. So I would argue that not being able to deliver a brief to 100 people on a subject I'm not interested in doesn't affect how good I am at my job. However, in my report, that was used as a way of knocking me down. So the frustration is, oh, if you're amazing at your job, no one gives a shit. It doesn't matter. But if there's something in your job you can't do, you get punished for it. And so all that did then, so I had the Mali incident that knocked my confidence and put me back a lot, and I really struggled with that because of I knew people now knew my problem and it was no longer like my little secret, to then being honest again and then being punished for it. So when people say if you've got mental health issues, you know, the best thing you can do is be open about it and talk about it. Well, I look back in history over the last few years and think the one biggest mental health struggle I have, I was open and honest about it, and all it did was screw me even more. It made me even worse. It made me 100 times worse being open and honest about it, and it screwed my career. And I lost all interest in my job. I lost all interest in doing anything to help the RAF. I was just like, you know what? Screw you. I've been on all these deployments. I've bent over backwards to I bent over backwards. Bent over backwards to do things for the RAF. And when I asked for help, like, you screwed me over. So anyway, so before I stopped work because of my cancer diagnosis, I was in a pretty low place. So when I stopped work, I really didn't miss it because I was just kind of like I couldn't care less. I really couldn't care less, and that was all down to being open and honest about my mental health. So, but anyway, so if you are having mental health struggles, I'm not saying don't be open and honest. Every individual has their own way of dealing with that, and men I know struggle with opening up. And you know what? I will be open and honest with certain people, my friends, you know, like Bawley or my mate James. you know, someone like him I can talk about it to, but you know, people at work that maybe you don't know, like they're not lifelong friends or whatever, you might struggle to talk to them about things. And just because someone's gone on a mental health course and they're offering you help doesn't mean you're going to ask for it or go to them for help just because they've done this course and they're offering you help. You have to feel comfortable with who you're talking to. And for me, that's probably a very limited number of people. And I also have this struggle that when I was open and honest about it, all it did was fuck me over. So I get to this point now where I will bottle things up, and it's like the analogy, isn't it, of a bottle of Coca-Cola. If you shake it and shake it and shake it, you're bottling things up if you shake it, and eventually it's going to explode. And what I have tended to do now is bottle things up to the point where I'm going to explode. And then what happens is something happens, you know, I get sent an email or something, or I get frustrated with something, and then I send an email, and then I look back and think, well, I get a reply to that email that says this is not how you should have gone about it, this is not how you should have dealt with the problem, and they are absolutely right. But the reason I've dealt with the problem that way is because when I was open and honest about anything else, I just got screwed over. So now I tend to shy away from being open and honest about it, but I let it get bottled up, and then it reaches a point where you explode, and that's not a healthy way of dealing with the situation. So yeah, mental health. Let's try and talk about it. Yeah, there'll be people out there that struggle and they don't have anyone to talk to. You know what annoys me? It annoys me when so there's if any of you know this person, a woman called Frankie Bridge, and I don't know what her maiden name is, but she used to be in S Club Juniors, I think it is, and also which is like a pop group, like a kids pop group, and then she was in a girl group called Saturdays. Neither group's particularly successful, so she's not particularly a successful pop star, but you know, I guess she's fairly well known. And she married a footballer called Wayne Bridge, so she probably had, like, you know, a decent amount of money. I don't think she'd have been made a millionaire from sort of average pop career, but Wayne Bridge would definitely have been a millionaire, a well-paid footballer playing for clubs like Chelsea. Anyway, so if you ever see any of, like, Frankie's, I don't know what, like in the newspapers or whatever, I think, I might be wrong, but I think she's released a book about, like, her mental health struggles. And I'm not saying she hasn't had mental health struggles or doesn't have mental health struggles, but what I struggle with her is that she goes on like 4 or 5 holidays a year. And when I say holidays, I mean like to the Maldives or you know, beautiful holidays. She's not going to Benidorm on a last minute cheap EasyJet flight and a crappy hotel. You know, she's going on very, very expensive holidays, and she's going like 4 or 5 a year, and like she lives in a huge house. Yeah, she lives in a bloody mansion that's big enough to have either her parents or Wayne's parents, I don't know which, but I think they live like in the same house, so they must have like a flat on the side of this house or something where they live. So they've got 24/7 childcare, and they can go on holiday together as a couple, and just leave the kids with the grandparents, or they all go on holiday as a family. They don't have any money worries. They're minted. They don't need to work. The work they do, they can sort of choose what they do. You know, TV shows or whatever. They can choose whatever they wish to do, because basically they're minted. What time is it? 29. But what frustrates me about that is that I'm not saying she doesn't have mental health issues, but I don't like people like her preaching to people like me about mental health struggles, because like she can go on several holidays a year, and she's got people there, family there, who live in the same house that can look after her kids, so she can go off on holiday or go and do what the hell she likes. Yeah, they've got a home gym. Yeah, they've got a massive room. It's just a gym, and they can work out. And so, yeah, I just really struggle with someone like that telling the normal person how she has mental health struggles. It's like, I'm sure you do, but people with actual mental health struggles, like soldiers that have come back from Afghanistan, they've seen their friends being blown up, stuff, they don't want to be preached to by a bloody pop star who's married a footballer, who lives in a mansion, who goes on 4 or 5 holidays to the bloody Maldives every year. Like, it's not even comparable. If she's got mental health issues, well, deal with them in your own time. Don't write a book about it and expect us all to go, oh, poor Frankie and her mental health issues. I'm sure a 4th holiday this year to the Maldives will help with that. Whereas everyone else with mental health issues is like struggling to pay their bills, or hates their job, but they've got to do their job because without their job they can't pay those bills, or you know, they're having issues with their kids or their parents, or they've lost a family member, or they've lost their limb in Afghanistan, it's blown off by an IED, and now they have no belonging, or they don't feel like they've got any belonging in the world. These are people, you know, or a homeless guy who, well, any homeless person, like, these are people with mental health issues. These are the ones I would read a book about. You know, the homeless guy who then becomes a successful entrepreneur, or the guy who went to prison as an 18-year-old for 10 years and he comes out and he's cleaned up his life and is now a successful businessman, or he's used like the Prince's Trust to help him, stuff like that. They're the people I want to read about, not bloody Frankie Bridge and her bloody life of luxury. Oh, she's got a bit of anxiety. Well, do you know what? If you've got an anxiety, don't go on the TV every morning, like, and then you won't have to deal with your anxiety. It's not like you need the money, so how about stay at home? Then you don't have to deal with the anxiety. You know, anyway, that's my little bit of annoyance out of my system this morning. So yeah, everyone has mental health, but I just think there's a sensitivity where someone like that should not be telling us about her mental health issues. Like, deal with them privately, because you know what, I don't give a monkeys about her mental health struggles. But before long, I'm sure Holly Willoughby will bring out a book about her mental health struggles, because it's such a popular subject at the moment, that all these celebrities probably feel that they can all release books on their mental health struggles. Holly Willoughby won't be far behind, and we'll have to listen to that. Right, I'm nearly home. Thank you for listening to me drivel on. But yeah, important subject, mental health. Keep the talk going. Let's talk about it. The more we talk about it, the more people who won't or can't open up about it, maybe they will one day if we keep talking about it. So anyway, enjoy your week. I'm off for a bit of chemo. Wish me luck. Sucks ass. Bye bye now. One thing I forgot to mention was this 44 Teeth channel. So after they were talking about mental health yesterday, they are so Chris is releasing like this thing called Permission to Talk. Talk spelt as in like engine talk, TORQUE. So yeah, a bit of a play on words, but Permission to Talk. And what he's doing is he's going to release like some stickers with like the logo on Permission to Talk, and he's encouraging people to use these stickers like to put on their bike or on their clothing or whatever, so that if you pull up at a biker bar, or you pull up or you pass a biker on the motorway and he's got like this Permission to Talk sticker, what it's saying is that biker may have mental health issues, or they might not, but what they're saying is they're open to listening to you. If you want to just say, hey, how's it going, or you feel like you need someone to talk to, or I'm not explaining this very well, but I think you get the gist of it. It's basically saying that the guy on the motorbike is not a twat, and if you want to talk to him, or if just seeing that sticker makes you think, oh, that's great, this guy's got that sticker on, so he's aware of mental health, and he's aware of the realities of mental health, then that might just put a smile on your face for the day, or that you think, oh, that biker, he's got the Permission to Talk sticker on. He's clearly a nice guy. If I bump into him at the pub or whatever, I'll say hello. Not to say you're going to download your life's issues to him, but it's just someone that is going to make themselves more approachable by having this sticker on your bike. So anyway, that's what I want to say. Bye bye.